includes 3 5-star players, guard Sania Hall of Ohio and forward Satia Fagan of Australia and Sarah Okeke from Spain. Also, All-American Juju Watkins will be back after recovering from a knee injury. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, oh, come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA, Talk 1580, download the app. Jesse
You are
Jackson
listening
Jr.
to
Show.
streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte, your guest host, in for our friend and brother Jesse Jackson Jr. I'm in touch until you be in touch. Be sure to follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nicordelai. Just type in Dr. Niq, DRNIIQ, and there I am. Fresh for you to follow. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app if you haven't already. Download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or you can just tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580 if you're feeling fancy. Last but certainly not least, subscribe to the KBLA YouTube channel. That way, you will not miss out on the opportunity to see us in action, right? You can listen to us on YouTube, but you can also see us on YouTube, and you can even get in the group chat on YouTube, and we love that. We have a great show in store for you today. I'm really delighted to welcome back to the show a frequent contributor, Barbara Arnwine, Esquire, is joining us. She's president and founder of the Transformative Justice Coalition, and she is an internationally renowned contributor on critical justice issues, including the passing of the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1991 and the 2006 reauthorization of provisions of the Voting Rights Act. Barbara, welcome to the show. Oh, well, let me not get ahead of myself. Barbara Arnwine will be joining us in short order. But in this hour, instead, we're going to talk with Liz King. Liz King, she served as the Education Equity Senior Program Director for the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights. That's a position that she held for about a decade. And she led a lot of the organization's work to ensure that all students are fully included in welcoming schools and early childhood through post-secondary education. And in school that prepares them for college, for careers, for life, and the full exercise of their rights, their social rights, their political rights, their economic rights. And throughout her tenure at the Leadership Conference on Civil Rights, she coordinated a lot of their coalition work. Here to talk to us about the state of that work, the things that may keep Liz up late at night. Please welcome Liz King.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be here, Dr. Corte. I just have a minute. I just have to say something. It's so funny, you introducing me as Barbara Arnwine. I have spent my life being not quite as awesome as the person people are expecting. So first it was, they'd be expecting Congressman Shaka Fatah, and then I would show up. And then they would be expecting Marian Wright Edelman, and I would show up. And then they'd be expecting Wade Henderson, and I would show up. And then they'd be expecting Vanita Gupta, and I would show up. And now here we are, the incomparable Barbara Arnwine. But I'm excited that your guests will have a chance to hear from Barbara Arnwine in the next hour. And I hope to be mildly interesting by comparison. But thank you so much. It's great to be here, and I am looking forward to the conversation.
Well, I'm looking forward to the conversation as well. And for all of our streamers and listeners, know that that conversation with Barbara Arnwine is coming up in short order. That's in our second hour. But this hour, we are very pleased to have Liz King, a leader from the front lines. It's been doing incredible work for a long time. When we come forward, I want to ask Liz, what is keeping her up late at night? I have a feeling, based on some of the latest political headlines, I have a feeling what's keeping her up late at night, but we'll hear directly from Liz. You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580.
living. 800-200-2257.
Where you eating at? Hi, I'm Greg Doolin, inviting you to a special celebration of Women's History Month. Join KBLA Talk 1580 for its annual symposium, The State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live from Doolin's Soul Food on Crenshaw, Friday, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., moderated by Dominique DePrima. And yes, breakfast is just $15.80. Come get fed twice. Your stomach and your mind will thank you. We'll see you Friday morning, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. at Doolin's Soul Food on Crenshaw for the State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Roger and Tracy saved over $18,400. Cynthia was recovering from a family tragedy and saved over $10,300. If you are drowning in debt, then call Debt Blue. Debt Blue is a professional debt negotiation firm with over 20 years of experience helping people pay back a fraction of what they owe. Learn how to cut your debt up to half or maybe more. Be debt-free in 24 to 48 months, even with bad credit. With an A+ rating from the BBB, you can rest easy knowing Debt Blue is going to deliver guaranteed debt reduction. Debt Blue offers a success guarantee. You pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved. That's right. You save money or it's free. Call now for significant debt relief and a free consultation. 800-200-8879. That's 800-200-8879. You don't have to declare bankruptcy. This program works if you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in debt. Call for your free consultation today. 800-200-8879. That's 800-200-8879.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Wally drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. KBLA.
You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm your guest host, Dr. Nicordelai Corte. You can typically find me here on KBLA Talk 1580 weekdays, Monday through Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific time, and afternoon drive time as host of A More Perfect Union, where we go beyond some of the day's political headlines and at least attempt to separate the fact from the fiction. But here, I'm delighted to be sitting in for our friend, our brother, Jesse Jackson Jr., who is away. And this hour, we're talking to Liz King. Liz King, formerly with the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights. Liz King, prior to joining the conference, she served as Senior Policy Associate for Education at the Children's Defense Fund and focused on school discipline reform and school funding equity. And before the break, Liz, I was asking you, what is keeping you up late at night these days?
Yeah, I think we are in a very, very scary moment in the United States. We're looking at this convergence of an agenda of hate and bigotry that is about consolidating power in the hands of a very few number of people. You know, we have seen, obviously, Trump right now is fixated on trying to make it harder for people to vote, trying to make it harder for women to vote, make it harder for older people, people with disabilities, because he knows that there is no way he stays in power, that he will continue to be unchecked if people have the right to vote. But part of what we've seen is this cynical ploy to attach all these things together. So we see in the Senate, there was an effort, you know, a terrible, cynical effort to say, hey, here's an opportunity to really attack the rights and the dignity of transgender people. Maybe that will be enough to get people to support this voter suppression. And it didn't work, thankfully. And we saw Democratic senators reject that mean-spirited move about undermining our democracy and our civility to one another. But it really is a challenging time. We're seeing all this nonsense at the airports made so much worse by the presence of ICE. We need less ICE, not more, in our neighborhoods and communities. And being at the airport is a stressful time. And, we're seeing that made worse. So there's just a lot of reasons to stay awake. A lot of reasons that it's hard to go to sleep right now. But what I will say, the thing that always keeps me going is the recognition that while all of these forms of marginalization, of discrimination, of bigotry are tied together, so too is our liberation. And every time they come at us from one angle or another, or they attack one community or another, we're reminded how powerful we are when we stick together. And I think that's got to be the lesson that carries us through in this really, really challenging moment in our nation's history.
Yeah, and we know that voting rights are not a silver bullet, but they are a part of the path to our liberation. It has been a part of our path to liberation, being able to decide who represents us at the highest levels of government. It's been a tool of our liberation and advancement that has been under attack, quite frankly. The Guardian reporting that Trump is promoting Voter ID Act and he's dismissing concerns about gas prices and a falling stock market. That's what we're hearing from the president of the United States. He seems hell-bent on passing what, to me, appears to be one of the most significant pieces of voter suppression legislation that we have seen come out of this Congress in a long time. What do you make of the president's obsession over passing the SAVE Act, which and I know will make voting more difficult for more Americans, not less? I'm particularly thinking about women who have changed from their maiden name to their married name, right? And so getting the necessary government documents that they need in order to prove they are who they say they are, it becomes incredibly cumbersome. You mentioned the trans community a moment ago. We know the difficulties that folks who've transitioned, whose ID does not necessarily reflect their sex at birth. We know it's going to make voting more difficult for them. We saw what just happened in the Texas primary, where there were, polling stations that folks were used to going to that were suddenly closed. Suddenly you have more people that had to go to less polling stations. And so what do you make of this carefully crafted campaign to hinder, if not kill, our voting rights state by state, one piece of legislation at a time?
Yeah, I think what we're being reminded of here is the power of our vote. And they know how powerful our vote is. So no one should ever question whether it matters if they vote or not, because what Trump is showing us right now is how much it matters. They're going to go to great lengths to keep people in Dallas from voting, to keep people in Kansas from voting, to keep people in California from voting, keep people in Mississippi from voting. So they are really going to great lengths to make it as hard as they possibly can, because they know they can't win elections if the voice of the people is actually heard. They know they don't meaningfully have the support of the American people. I mean, this bill, this so-called SAVE Act that Trump is trying to ram through, congressional Republicans think that he's going too far. Congressional Republicans think they can't even sell it. The Speaker of the House was asked, hey, can you give me one example? Give me one example where this bill would have stopped fraudulent voting. One example where this bill would have been needed. You keep saying there's this problem. Give me one example. He couldn't come up with one example. I mean, this is not about solving a problem. This is about making it harder to vote. And it's just part of the same agenda. We're seeing that it's about avoidance. It's about hiding the real issues. It's about avoiding the real problems that are facing families today. And instead coming up with fake problems and dangerous solutions that only serve to cause harm and to limit our future as a nation. I mean, it really is terrible. And I think it's a reminder that these midterm elections that are coming up are going to be we've been saying this for years now, the most important election of our lifetime, And on some level, everyone is. And you're absolutely right. Voting is only ever the beginning. And being civically engaged and holding your government accountable, it takes more than voting. And we know that we're going to need everybody to vote in these midterms, no matter what obstacles they throw in our way. We're all going to have to find a way to have our voice heard, because they know that is the real accountability mechanism that they're trying to avoid.
You mentioned a moment ago just how unpopular the SAVE Act is, even among Republicans. On Thursday, Thom Tillis, a Republican senator from North Carolina, he announced that he would not support removing the 60 vote threshold. And he criticized the crackdown on vote by mail, which is used by several Republican-run states, including Utah, Florida, Alaska, and Montana. In fact, in terms of hypocrisy here, President Trump has voted by mail in Florida. And so, Liz, tell me, is this a profile in courage? What do you make of Thom Tillis's comments on the president's efforts to thwart the way that we do elections in this country?
Yeah, I think what we're seeing from Senator Tillis is a reminder that there are a whole lot of people out there who are going along with this Trump nonsense, even though they may not believe it. And he's not running for re-election, so he feels like he has the room to speak out. And I guess I'm glad that he is doing it now. He could have been doing it for years and years. We've needed to hear his voice. But, I guess better late than never coming to the party. I think it is this. I mean, they know this is a mess. They know this is the wrong way to do things. They know this is not right and not okay. But I think the example of Trump voting by mail is a good example. This is about he gets his. This is about more power, more money for him, and less power and less money for everybody else. This is all just about the cult of Trump, enriching Trump. And too many of these Republican politicians have been going along with it for too long. And we see, either they get burned themselves or they decide to remove themselves from the system so that they're no longer, under his boot in that same way. And we hear what it is they say they thought all along. So I'm glad that Senator Tillis is calling this out for what it is and the terrible, terrible idea here. I think they keep trying to tell us over and over again that our elections are not secure, and then they can't produce the results. I mean, they spent how much money and how many years trying to prove that the 2020 election was, didn't go the way that everybody said it went. I mean, he lost. That's what happened in 2020. And so I think, I'm glad that we get to hear Senator Tillis now. I think it is a reminder that we should be hearing from more of our elected leaders. The American people deserve better. No matter where you are, no matter who represents you, you deserve better than what you're getting right now. And these Republican members of Congress have got to get it together. And they know they're about to lose in the midterms because the American people are tired of this.
And the American people certainly are tired, but the question still remains, will the American people show up en masse? We know this Saturday will be the No Kings rally across the country. Talk to us about how you plan to participate or support, if at all. And, what's your call to action to the folks that are particularly sitting on the sidelines, folks who may not be the, going to a rally type, may not be the type to, sign petitions. But, what is your call to action to the silent majority that exists in this country across the political spectrum as we're coming up on the No Kings rally this weekend?
Yeah, there's something for everybody. There's something for all of us to do. My daughter made a rainbow sign that said respect. And so we, at the last No Kings rally, we went and she had her sign and I had my sign and we stood there, and that was the right thing for our family. But we know there are people delivering groceries to neighbors who can't leave the house because of fear of ICE. We know that there are neighbors who are taking Black history books and sticking them in all the little free libraries to push back on this censorship agenda. We know that there are people taking action all over the country every day in defense of the country they want this country to be, the neighborhood they want to live in, and the way they want to live in harmony in their community. I mean, we've seen people take to the streets in Minneapolis. We see, the courage of the people of Los Angeles in response to what was going on there with respect to ICE. So there have been lots of ways over and over and over again that people have been showing up and speaking out, and voting is absolutely a crucial piece of that. But always calling your member of Congress is, it's an old standby. It's one that's been going on for a while. But you can also just show up at their office. No matter where you live, there is a congressional office near you. There's a district office, and you can go talk to them about what you think is going on, about how you feel about gas prices and going to war for no good reason, and the death and destruction that we've seen in the bigotry and hate. And so there's a lot of ways to get involved. I hope everybody finds their place, their way to speak out and be heard, as they are telling us over and over again, they don't want to hear what we have to say, which means we just have to say it louder.
Well, just for our listeners and viewers, you should know that as reported by The Hill, millions of people are expected to take to the streets this Saturday for another round of No Kings demonstrations against the backdrop, of course, of escalating tensions over immigration enforcement and the war with Iran, as Liz has just noted. The protests against the Trump administration, which swept across the U.S. last year, it's planned for March 28th with a flagship event in the Twin Cities, the center of President Trump's immigration crackdown in Minnesota. Organizers said just last week that more than 3,000 rallies were scheduled in cities nationwide, stretching from coast to coast, including New York City, Chicago, and right here in Los Angeles, where I'm broadcasting today. In Washington, D.C., my East Coast home, an estimated 4,000 protesters are expected to march across Memorial Bridge, past the Lincoln Memorial, and on the Washington Monument in defense of American democracy, the rule of law, and a healthy planet. And so go to the No Kings website and look for ways to plug in. On my show, we oftentimes encourage people to do what they can from where they are with what they have. And if all you have is a sign or a bullhorn, if all you have is the will to want to be amongst other concerned Americans that make a declaration to this president, to this government, peacefully, not in my name, then tap into the No Kings rallies across the country this weekend. You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm your guest host, Dr. Nicordelai Corte. More with Liz King when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Texas Senator John Cornyn is backing the Save America Act requiring proof of citizenship to register to vote. He says Democrats shouldn't oppose fair election measures.
Trying to think, what possible reason could they have? One is, of course, Trump derangement syndrome.
The president warns no deals until voting rules are tied to Homeland Security funding. A California jury has awarded a Black woman, Lakivia Kiki Wilson, $15 million after finding her city supervisor created a racist, hostile workplace, even calling her an entitled N-word. Wilson says the verdict brings long overdue accountability. And Howard University and Bowie State University are launching a $4 million federal initiative called Ascend AI to boost AI literacy. The program will train students and faculty to use artificial intelligence responsibly. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For nearly 50 years, OPL Law has changed lives, restored futures, and delivered justice. When your world turns upside down after an accident, reputation and success matter. We're real people who fight for real people. OPLLaw.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
LeBron going scoreless in the first half of an NBA game does not happen too often. LeBron did not score in the first half, and the Lakers lost at Detroit Monday night. He missed all 5 of his shots and had no free throw attempts. It was only the 3rd time in LeBron's 23-year career that he failed to score at least 1 point in the first half. The last time was in 2010. LeBron finished Monday's game with 12 points and 10 assists. Even though the season is over for the USC women's basketball team, the future of the program looks strong. USC has the #1 rated recruiting class in the nation coming to campus in the fall. The class includes 3 5-star players, guard Sania Hall of Ohio and forward Satia Fagan of Australia and Sarah Okeke from Spain. Also, All-American Juju Watkins will be back after recovering from a knee injury. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, aka the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. So who's really paying the price? Scores of people dead and counting. Over 9,000 homes burned to the ground. Entire neighborhoods in Altadena gone. The Altadena Eaton Canyon fire is one of the deadliest fires in California history. And Edison's own CEO told investors the company has not identified any other possible source of ignition. In other words, they started it. So what does the man at the top walk away with? Pedro Pizarro took home $16.6 million in cash, stock, and other compensation last year, a 20% raise from the year before. Let that sink in for a moment. A 20% raise, while families in Altadena are still sifting through the ash. Now, Edison will tell you they cut executive bonuses by 40%. Sounds like accountability, right? Wrong. 6 senior executives lost an estimated $2 million in bonuses. On the very same day, the company reported $4.5 billion in profit for 2025. $2 million out of $4.5 billion. That math ain't mathing. That's not a penalty. That's a rounding error. And here's the part that should really make your blood boil. Over $1.6 billion in damages from a previous fire that SCE equipment started is now being covered not by the company, but by SCE customers just like you and me through rate hikes. The victims of utility failures are being asked to pay for the utilities' failures. Sickening, shameful, disgraceful, reprehensible. You choose your own word. The people lost everything. The CEO got a raise. The company posted record profits. And your electricity bill is going up. As you well know, KBLA Talk 1580 has been out front and unapologetic about demanding accountability for SoCal Edison. But this is far from accountability. This is the system working exactly as it was designed, just not for you. With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. Come on and talk with me. Come
are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm Dr. Cordelai Corte, your guest host. You can typically find me right here on KBLA Talk 1580 weekdays, Monday through Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific. As the host of A More Perfect Union and KBLA White House correspondent, on our show, we like to go beyond the trending headlines, and we attempt to separate the fact from the fiction with expert political analysis, leaders from the front lines, people shaping our culture. And so if that's your vibe, you are invited to tap in from 4 to 6 p.m. right here on KBLA Talk 1580. But this hour on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, I'm really delighted to be in conversation with Liz King. Folks who may be a little less familiar with her incredible body of work. She's formerly with the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights. She was there for about a decade, where she led the organization's work to ensure that all students are fully included in welcoming schools from early childhood through post-secondary education. And before that, she was a senior policy associate for education at the Children's Defense Fund, where she focused on school discipline reform and school funding equity. Liz, I want to ask you about just sort of the state of affairs with the U.S. Department of Education. It really just seems like total dysfunction. But of course, we know that total dysfunction is intentional. It seems to me that we're witnessing a great transfer of responsibility from the federal government to the private sector. Catch us up on what's happening beyond the headlines at the U.S. Department of Education.
Yeah, things at the Department of Education are a mess. You know, the Department of Education is a civil rights agency, and it has two jobs: to protect students from discrimination and advance equal opportunity in education. And what we're seeing right now is Secretary McMahon and the leadership of the Department of Education doing everything it can to dismantle and walk away from its legal obligations provided by Congress. So, I mean, right now, there's just a whole mess of things happening with respect to student loans. We created this debt finance system of higher education. We said that, you know, we made people take on debt to finance their own education by disinvesting public dollars in our system of higher education. And now we're trying to make it even harder for them to pay back those loans. We're seeing the clawback and the closing of doors for early care and education programs, undermining of K-12 education, both educational quality and equity broadly. So things are a mess over there. I think they're trying to prove by doing government badly that government can't work, when we all know it's not government that's the problem, it's them. But this is another example where the Trump administration is going too far for even congressional Republicans. They keep calling themselves trying to shut down the Department of Education, but they have to keep doing this end run around it because nobody actually supports that agenda. And so they call themselves, you know, returning power to the states, but all they're doing is just messing around with the system. I mean, it's not that we have a distributed system of control for our education system. Most of the decisions made in our education system have always been at the school and the school district level. The states have their role and the federal government has their role. But it is because the Department of Education is a civil rights agency that they're trying to destroy it, because their agenda really is about closing doors of opportunity and limiting the chance people have to pursue an education. And so it is a mess. It is distressing, and it is an agenda that nobody supports, that they really need to back off of. I mean, we are going to be spending years and years digging out of this mess and trying to get things back on track. Just as one example, you know, the Department of Education is responsible for doing research about how children learn how to read and do math. And that research helps teachers do their jobs better. So we're going to have this big gap in time when that research wasn't getting done, which is going to make it harder for teachers to do their job for the next several years. I mean, this is an agenda that is about keeping people ignorant. It's about denying people opportunity and denying people self-determination. I mean, that's what this is really all about.
You know, the denial of education, the denial of opportunity, it continues. They definitely are pulling out all the stops to make it more cumbersome for folks to not just have an equal opportunity and have their civil rights affirmed, but literally they're making things more challenging for us as consumers. The Associated Press is reporting that student loans are to go to the Treasury Department as Trump continues to dismantle the Education Department. That's right. You all heard me correctly. The U.S. Education Department is handing off a portion of its student loan portfolio to the Treasury Department. This is seen as a first step towards shedding management of all student loans as the Trump administration officials dismantle the agency. It's worth noting that under an agreement that was announced just last week, the Treasury Department will take over management of student loans whose borrowers are in default, meaning that they are months behind in payments. Those loans add up to about $180 billion, or 11% of the government's $1.7 trillion student portfolio. Eventually, the Treasury Department is to take responsibility again for all student loans. Liz, what do you make of this move by the Trump administration? And just as consumers, what should we brace ourselves for with this transition of student loans from the U.S. Department of Education to the U.S. Department of Treasury?
I mean, first of all, they should have just canceled this debt. We should be canceling student loan debt. We know the economic benefits it provides. We know the ways in which student loan debt is interfering with people's ability to buy a house and to move forward in their careers. And so baseline, that is what they should have done. I think what we're going to see is it's going to get harder for people to pay back their loans. You're going to get stuck in these paperwork loops where, you know, this piece of paper is going to get lost and then that cancellation is going to be ineligible. I mean, the student loan system has been a mess for years and needed to be resolved. Cancellation was clearly the only path forward. And instead of fixing a problem, they're making it 10 times worse. So I think we really are going to see with this new role for the Treasury Department that does not have specialized expertise with respect to the administration of the student loan program, that is not responsible for ensuring equal educational opportunity. That's not the job of the Treasury Department. They don't have the knowledge. They don't have the expertise. And they're just going to make it a lot harder for individual borrowers. To your point, this is a huge consumer protection issue. I think we're going to see a lot more exploitation of students, of student loan holders, and things are going to get really bad. It's going to get harder to pay bills. It's going to get harder to afford life and harder to move forward. And this is a really wrong-headed decision. Thankfully, we've seen some good oversight by congressional Democrats. We're going to need to see more. But Republican members of Congress need to step up and say this is a mess, and we can't let people be treated this way.
You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte, your guest host, along with Liz King, civil rights advocate and policy expert. When we come forward, we are working our way through some of the most consequential headlines today. These are the headlines that are keeping people up late at night. I was just asking Liz that question at the top of our conversation because every day as we curate this show and as I curate my show in Afternoon Drive Time, A More Perfect Union, that's one of the North Stars that I think about and task our team with thinking about. Like, what are the issues that people are talking about at their kitchen table? What are the issues that are keeping them up late at night? We know student loans are one of those many issues. And we're going to get into more of those issues when we come forward. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Roger and Tracy saved over $18,400. Cynthia was recovering from a family tragedy and saved over $10,300. If you are drowning in debt, then call Debt Blue. Debt Blue is a professional debt negotiation firm with over 20 years of experience helping people pay back a fraction of what they owe. Learn how to cut your debt up to half or maybe more. Be debt-free in 24 to 48 months, even with bad credit. With an A+ rating from the BBB, you can rest easy knowing Debt Blue is going to deliver guaranteed debt reduction. Debt Blue offers a success guarantee. You pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved. That's right. You save money or it's free. Call now for significant debt relief and a free consultation. 800-200-8879. That's 800 800-200-8879. You don't have to declare bankruptcy. This program works if you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in debt. Call for your free consultation today. 800-200-8879. That's 800-200-8879.
Heading out of town this spring? Metro makes getting to LAX easier than ever. Just take the C or K train lines to the new LAX Metro Transit Center. Then catch a free shuttle straight to your terminal. Easy, affordable, stress-free. Travel smart. Go Metro.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Tired of being locked out of job opportunities and shut down by systemic racism? KBLA Talk 1580 stands with you in fighting for the rights of black workers, and we don't back down. The Los Angeles Black Workers Center is a dynamic alliance of workers, organized labor, community-based organizations, clergy, students, and scholars working collectively to improve the position of the black working class. The LA Black Workers Center takes a comprehensive approach to addressing the black jobs crisis. Their programs promote access to quality jobs, racial equity in hiring and retention, discrimination-free job sites, and they prepare black workers for employment in high-wage career track jobs. The LA Black Workers Center supports workers who need help protecting their rights on the job. They give workers access to quality jobs and remove systemic barriers to employment. And they are advocating for a fair deal for black workers in the new Los Angeles City Charter. To sign up for free career readiness training, get involved in organizing, or learn about union apprenticeship programs and trade registries, please visit lablackworkercenter.org. That's lablackworkercenter.org. Together, we can beat the black jobs crisis and build a more equitable Los Angeles. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. At the heart of the Al Wooten Center's mission for good citizenship and academic excellence is a desire to ensure that every student avoids the kind of lifestyle and overcomes the kinds of challenges that led to the murder of Al Wooten Jr. In 1990, founder Myrtle Faye Rumpf opened the center in honor of her son's life. In 2026, they are serving more than 300 students in grades 3 through 12 annually online and on site at their youth center and other sites in the South LA area. The Al Wooten Jr. Youth Center takes a neighborhood approach to the revitalization and empowerment of a community in crisis. The Wooten Center provides free after-school and summer programs to help students in grades 3 through 12 attain grade-level proficiency and promotion, high school graduation, and college and career access and success. The Al Wooten Center focuses on academics, STEM, the arts, and so much more. Join them for an enriching experience that sparks creativity and nurtures young minds. Tap in at wootencenter.org. That's wootencenter.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me.
You're listening to and streaming
Come on and listen
Jesse
to
Jackson
me.
Jr. Show.
KBLA.
Dr. Cordelai Corte, your guest host, along with Liz King, who has been joining me. I've really been enjoying our conversation over the course of the hour. Liz King, who is formerly with the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights. She's worked for the Children's Defense Fund. We've been talking a lot about some of the things that are keeping folks up late at night, whether we're talking about the assault, and there's no other way to think about it, the assault on the way we do elections here in the United States. You got to ask yourself, how is it that this president, he believes the results of the 2024 election, hasn't questioned the legitimacy of the 2024 election, and every chance he gets, he reminds people how big he won in the 2024 election, winning every swing state. And so how is it that there is so much confidence in our elections in 2024? not just from the president, but from Republicans across the country. Because you might remember, Republicans have maintained control of the House of Representatives, took control of the U.S. Senate, and controlled the White House. And so why is there so much confidence in that election? But all of a sudden, oh my gosh, we need to overhaul our elections across the country. Could it be because Republicans are out of touch? Could it be because the people of America are sick and tired of being sick and tired of a government that is prioritizing what appears to be, what feels like everything but their priorities? Weren't there so many of our fellow Americans that said that economic anxiety, that was a big part of why they sided with Trump in the last election? That's what they said. So my question to them is, how's your economic anxiety feeling today? Did it get any better when you pulled up to the gas station? Did it get any better when you looked at your energy bill? By the way, my home in DC, I was looking at the energy bill, up 142%. Pepco, if you're listening, what's that about? And so the cost of sending your kid to college, the cost of doing everything has gone up. But meanwhile, you have an administration that has asked Congress to write them a fresh check for $200 billion to facilitate the war in Iran. Liz King, what do you make of that? I think there are a number of folks that might say it is absolutely unconscionable that after the billions of dollars that Congress gave to this administration by way of the so-called big, beautiful bill, that, 3 weeks into this war in Iran, the administration is already asking for more money to facilitate this war, $200 billion more, while we have folks who are struggling to pay their student loans, in default over their student loans. A record number of Americans are tapping into their 401k plans earlier, basically sooner than later, in order to help make ends meet. What do you make of this request the administration has made to Congress?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at this war in Iran. War is always the wrong answer, and war never makes us safer. But this is an example of a war that was, even by the standards of people who think you can justify war, would say there's no justification for this war. So not only is this a war that is making us less safe, that it is hurting the lives of everyday Iranians who deserve peace and democracy and self-determination, just like everyone in the United States deserves. But to your point, I mean, this is costing a whole lot of money, and that money is coming at the expense of infrastructure and jobs in the United States, at the expense of education and nutrition programs. We get told there's not enough money for healthcare. We get told that people have to use a GoFundMe to cover their cancer treatment. At the same time, they got money to go blow stuff up in Iran, and they can't even figure out why. They can't even tell us why they got to go blow stuff up in Iran. And I mean, it is so awful how much all of this is happening. But to your point, I think there is an understanding of how unpopular these policies are. And that makes me scared, because every time they realize how unpopular their stuff is, they come up with some new distraction. They come up with some new way to talk about something else, because they don't want to talk about the real issues. They don't want to talk about what's really going on. They don't want to talk about, the real causes of homelessness, because housing is so expensive. And I think you're absolutely right that the cost of this war will live on. I mean, who on earth comes to the conclusion in the 21st century that what we need is another war in the Middle East? I mean, whose takeaway from the war in Iraq was, let's do that again? I mean, certainly not Colin Powell. Like, it is so terrible to be in this situation again and realize how much we have been failed by so many of our elected leaders who, this is obviously, it's Trump calling the shots here, but the rest of them are letting him do this. And they need to be held to account. They need to be told that this is not not in my name. Like you said before, none of this. Don't kidnap my neighbors in my name. Don't take away people's food stamps in my name. Don't take away people's housing in my name. And certainly don't go bombing other countries in my name. I mean, it's an agenda of violence and domination and abuse. And it's done. It needs to stop. We can't keep doing this.
You're right. But let me tell you, the Pentagon ain't stopping seeking $200 billion in additional funds for the Iran war, a sizable amount that is certain to be met with questions by Congress. It's worth noting that the department sent the request to the White House. And when asked about the figure at a press conference last Thursday, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth did not directly confirm the amount, saying it could change. And so today it's $200 billion. It could be significantly more in short order. But you know what he said that really stood out to me, as reported by the Associated Press? It takes money to kill bad guys. That's what the Defense Secretary said. It takes money to kill bad guys. But he said, we're going back to Congress and our folks there to ensure that we are properly funded. Again, to Liz's point, you drive around any major city across this country and you can see the challenges we have related to homelessness. And we're told we don't have enough money to address that. That's what they're telling the people. But somehow we have found $200 billion or more. That's what they're on the hunt for. And I think they likely will get it. And I think that is a crying shame. But we all get to decide what we allow in our name. We have an opportunity to make our voices heard peacefully this Saturday at a No Kings rally in a city near you. Liz, where can people go to follow you and follow your work?
Well, I don't have a good online presence, but if you go to the No Kings Rally website, I will see you out there on the street. Look for me and my daughter with her rainbow sign, calling for dignity and respect for all of our neighbors, for all people, an end to the war, and a move towards democracy and equal opportunity. And so I hope we'll see everybody out there on Saturday. It's up to us. It's always been up to us, and it's up to us again. You know, we are the change we seek in the world. And let's go do it. Let's go make our voices heard. Let's go make our faces seen. I'll see you on Saturday.
You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm your guest host, Dr. Nicordelai Corte. More in our next hour with Barbara Armwine.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Texas Senator John Cornyn is backing the Save America Act requiring proof of citizenship to register to vote. He says Democrats shouldn't oppose fair election measures.
Trying to think, what possible reason could they have? One is, of course, Trump derangement syndrome.
The president warns no deals until voting rules are tied to Homeland Security funding. A California jury has awarded a Black woman, Lakivia Kiki Wilson, $15 million after finding her city supervisor created a racist, hostile workplace, even calling her an entitled N-word. Wilson says the verdict brings long overdue accountability. And Howard University and Bowie State University are launching a $4 million federal initiative called Ascend AI to boost AI literacy. The program will train students and faculty to use artificial intelligence responsibly. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For nearly 50 years, OPIA law has changed lives, restored futures, and delivered justice. When your world turns upside down after an accident, reputation and success matter. We're real people who fight for real people. OPIAlaw.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
LeBron going scoreless in the first half of an NBA game does not happen too often. LeBron did not score in the first half, and the Lakers lost at Detroit Monday night. He missed all 5 of his shots and had no free throw attempts. It was only the 3rd time in LeBron's 23-year career that he failed to score at least 1 point in the first half. The last time was in 2010. LeBron finished Monday's game with 12 points and 10 assists. Even though the season is over for the USC women's basketball team, the future of the program looks strong. USC has the #1 rated recruiting class in the nation coming to campus in the fall. The class includes 3 5-star players, guard Sania Hall of Ohio and forward Satia Fagan of Australia and Sarah Okeke from Spain. Also, All-American Juju Watkins will be back after recovering from a knee injury. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Girls, who run the world? Girls, who run this mother?
Women's History Month doesn't end. It crescendos this Friday on KBLA Talk 1580. It's a total takeover. All day, all night. Women's voices only. Santita Jackson and Amanda Seals join our all-star lineup of women talkers as special guest host for the day. Oh my God! And our lineup of guests includes entrepreneurs, poets, elected officials, authors, activists, creatives, and music artists, including the Grammy Award-winning Faith Evans.
I never knew there was a love like this before.
And Guapale. There's only one Faith Evans, and 25 years after she asked us to get closer, Guapale also comes live in studio to celebrate the debut album that became a classic this Friday, only on KBLA Talk 1580. Tune in, turn it up. This one's ours.
We run this mother. Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte, your guest host, in for our friend, our brother, Jesse Jackson Jr., who is away. But don't you worry. He has left you in the softest of hands. I'm really looking forward to our guest this hour. But let me just remind you, I'm in touch, and so you be in touch. Follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nicordelai. Just type in Dr. Niq, DRNIIQ, and there I am, fresh for you to follow. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app if you haven't already. Download that KBLA app. That way, you can listen to us on demand. You can listen to us on the go. You'll have us right there in the palm of your hand. And that's if you're not streaming us right now on YouTube. And if you're streaming on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the KBLA YouTube channel. That way, we don't just get to you don't just get to hear us, but you get to see us in action. And you're always invited to the party. Just hop into the group chat on YouTube. We love to hear from you. And last but not least, if you're feeling fancy, just tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580. And there we are. This hour, I am really delighted to be in conversation again with Barbara R. Arnwine, Esquire. She's the president and founder of the Transformative Justice Coalition and is internationally renowned for her contributions on a host of different critical justice issues, whether we're talking about the landmark passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1991 or the 2006 reauthorization of provisions of the Voting Rights Act. Barbara's been right there, one of those leaders on the front lines. She is the co-chair and facilitator of the National Commission for Voter Justice, the Millennial Votes Matter convening and the Voting Rights Alliance. She was also the head of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under the law from February 1989 until June 2015, and holds the honor of President Emeritus. She ain't new to this, she's true to this. Please welcome Barbara Arnwine to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. It's always great being in conversation with you. One of the things that I certainly enjoy doing with leaders like yourself who have been on the front lines for some time, I like to tap into your knowledge and your memory to help us separate the fact from the fiction. There's a lot of myths and disinformation out there swirling. We know that Black folks, our core audience of Black folks, are a major target. They're a major target by enemies, both foreign and domestic. I can't tell you how many times I turn around and I hear or see another story about deep fakes.
Yes.
And how deep fakes are just faking people out. I was talking to Kenny Lattimore and his wife maybe about a month ago related to some of the work that they're doing. And there are actually foreign actors that are acting like they are in the United States, and they are creating these fake videos.
Yes.
And fake storylines related to Black celebrities, right?
Yes.
And they are doing it in hopes that Black celebrities team will respond and folks will go back to the original source. And, that leads to likes and views and advertising revenue, etc. And so I want to start this hour with you similar to the way I started the first hour by asking our guest, what's keeping you up late at night these days? Oh, wow.
That's an internal joke.
Okay. All right. Ask that question and I got a 30-second clock. Okay.
So what's keeping me up? Several things. It's during Supreme Court, y'all's president, and y'all's president, the war, y'all's president, and the SAVE Act, all of those things. So it's been a very busy time, to put it mildly, and getting ready for No Kings 3 on Saturday. So a lot of things.
Well, when we come forward, we're going to tap into that short list, very consequential list, but that short list that Barbara has just outlined for us, particularly related to TSA workers who are trying to survive a second shutdown, the ICE influx, and their top Democrats are saying that Trump is a complete fraud for voting by mail, despite calling mail-in voting cheating. We're going to get into all that more when we come forward. You're listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm your guest host, along with an incredible civil rights leader, Barbara Arnwine, Esquire. More when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
This March, we're turning up the volume on the women who changed everything. KBLA Talk 1580 is proud to celebrate Women's History Month, honoring the trailblazers, truth tellers, and game changers who shaped our world, our culture, and our community. From the freedom fighters to the firsts, from the boardroom to the front lines, from the unsung to the unforgettable, all month long, we're celebrating the stories, the voices, and the conversations that remind us that women, Black women, have always led the way. Don't miss a moment. This is our moment. This is our story. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580, Los Angeles' home for the conversations that matter.
I'm your girl, you're my girl, we your girls. Don't you know that we love you?
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Roger and Tracy saved over $18,400. Cynthia was recovering from a family tragedy and saved over $10,300. If you are drowning in debt, then call Debt Blue. Debt Blue is a professional debt negotiation firm with over 20 years of experience helping people pay back a fraction of what they owe. Learn how to cut your debt up to half or maybe more. Be debt-free in 24 to 48 months, even with bad credit. With an A+ rating from the BBB, you can rest easy knowing Debt Blue is going to deliver guaranteed debt reduction. Debt Blue offers a success guarantee. You pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved. That's right. You save money or it's free. Call now for significant debt relief and a free consultation. 800-200-8879. That's 800-200-8879. You don't have to declare bankruptcy. This program works if you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in debt. Call for your free consultation today. 800-200-8879. That's 800-200-8879.
Good old-fashioned soul. Where you eating at? Hi, I'm Greg Doolin, inviting you to a special celebration of Women's History Month. Join KBLA Talk 1580 for its annual symposium, The State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live from Doolin Soul Food on Crenshaw, Friday, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., moderated by Dominique DePrimo. And yes, breakfast is just $15.80. Come get fed twice. Your stomach and your mind will thank you. We'll see you Friday morning, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. at Doolin Soul Food on Crenshaw for the State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen.
You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Dr. Nikolai Cortez. I'm really delighted to be in conversation with the great Barbara Arnwine, Esquire. You might remember her as one of the longest-serving leaders of the Leadership Conference, the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights, and she has been a champion when it comes to voting rights. She's co-chair and facilitator of the National Commission for Voter Justice, and president and founder of the Transformative Justice Coalition. Welcome to the show, Miss Arnwine. All right. We're going to unmute you there. But let's get into.
Oh yes, sorry about that.
No worries at all. And so let's talk about the TSA politics that are afoot right now. We know that Democrats aren't budging. Based on the news that's been reported today, they're not funding the Department of Homeland Security. They are willing to fund the TSA and have 7 times already tried to pass a clean bill to fund the TSA, to fund FEMA. But Democrats have been holding the line when it comes to ICE because there are some guardrails that are not there. There are some reforms that people across this country, across the political spectrum, believe that ICE should operate under. And the fact that the Department of Homeland Security has not been willing to play ball and consider those very basic reforms, more than just body-worn cameras, by the way, because Republicans love to say, oh, but, outgoing Secretary Kristi Noem made body-worn cameras mandatory. Well, as you know, as a civil rights attorney, it's one thing to adopt a policy mandating body-worn cameras. It's another thing to have a policy that outlines how you govern the use of those body-worn cameras, what happens to that footage, how it becomes publicly available, what gets redacted and when, and where that footage gets stored, how you prevent that footage from becoming an AI deep fake, right? And these are all very important questions that we haven't heard answers from the outgoing Secretary of Homeland Security. Certainly didn't come up all that much during the confirmation hearing for Senator Mullen, who is now the Secretary of Homeland Security. And so talk to us about what do you make of this impasse, and what is it going to take in order for these TSA workers to get the compensation that they deserve and the support that they deserve, quite frankly, from their government?
Well, it's fascinating because, as you pointed out, the Democrats did offer last week and actually got enough crossover votes from Republicans to pass a limited bill that would have allowed DHS to reopen, as you said, FEMA, to reopen TSA, but it would have not provided any funding for ICE. Y'all's president, one Donald J. Trump, decided that he would not approve of this deal because he wants the SAVE Act. Mm-hmm. Now, he didn't say there was anything wrong with the deal. He said that he is going to approve anything from the Senate until they give him his voter suppression bill, the SAVE Act. He wants to knock off 21 million people in this country who doesn't have a voter ID. He wants to knock out 62 million women whose voter ID doesn't match their birth certificates because they married. They got a new surname, their husband's name. He wants to knock out all those people who don't have passports, and which is, for African Americans, we hear only 66% of us to have no passport. None, zero, 66%, no valid passport. Only 34% of us have one. If you're in the South, only 40% of Southerners have a passport. Duh. So what he's doing is trying to restrict his electorate because he knows he's going to lose in the midterms. He's going to lose the House. He's going to lose the Senate if it's a fair election. So he's doing everything he can to rig the election, everything he can to kill voter registration, everything he can to kill who can vote and win. He is out of control, and his cronies, his minions, those sitting in the House, those sitting in the Senate, and evilly those sitting on the Supreme Court are all down with his program. Repeating his lines about fraud yesterday in the argument in the Watson versus RNC case, all of this. And so what was interesting, when you said that, one of his critics today has been John Kennedy,
Senator from Louisiana.
Exactly. Because he was one of the crossover votes that came over to say, let's fund everything but ICE. And Trump is so in your face evil that he will take instead of funding TSA, he will take ICE and put ICE in our airports. Have you seen the pictures of ICE people at the airports?
I've seen the picture of ICE folks at the airports. And let me tell you something. It's a crying shame that you have ICE folks who are literally standing around and standing behind TSA workers. The ICE agents are getting paid. The TSA agents are not getting paid. Think about how you would feel if there you are, you have clocked in to a job that is paying you in IOUs. And you can't take an IOU to the bank. You can't take an IOU to the grocery store. You can't take an IOU to the gas station. You can't take an IOU to your child care center. You can't take an IOU anywhere, right? And so you're getting paid in IOUs, and there's someone standing over your shoulder.
Doing nothing.
Who doesn't even know how to do your job, right? That's getting paid. That is the absolute madness that is taking place right now, and it doesn't have to be this way.
But you got to understand his fascist mentality, because fascism loves to have, quote, their police everywhere, and the ability to have his ICE agents, standing there, because he sees ICE. Everybody, don't get confused. I've said this before, and I'll continue to say it. He perceives ICE as his own secret police. He does not see them as a public police function. He sees them as his own police, his own warriors. So he loves this because this allows him to deny, us that, the freedom of movement without us being surveilled by his people. They are surveilling us now. Mm-hmm. They might be sitting around, looking bored and stuff, but they are watching. And that president of yours said today that he wants them to start arresting people who should be detained and deported. Now, how's that going to fly? I mean, these airlines, they need to be protesting and raising HELL over this whole situation. And the bottom line is that the Senate doesn't have the gumption to say to this president, we cannot give you the SAVE Act because we can't pass it. We don't have enough votes. You can't magically wave a wand and change all the rules of the Senate because we know how destructive that can be to us. Well, so he's just out of control.
Well, to your point about some of the destructive measures that this president has flirted with, and that some folks in his own party have flirted with, I've been hearing from a number of sources this week that there are Republicans out there that are floating the idea of creating a carve-out to get this SAVE Act passed, a carve-out in the filibuster is this. We know that Tom Tillis, the retiring senator from North Carolina, threw cold water on it and said he wouldn't support it, right?
And not even Murkowski. I mean, they don't have the votes to even pass a darn filibuster carve-out. Right. They just don't have it. I mean, the bottom line is he is showing, his temper tantrum, immaturity here. He's showing his lack of statesmanship. Again. You're right. Again and again. And it's a shame that this is the quality of our, quote, leadership right now. I mean, every time that man comes on TV, I just shake my head. Talk about bragging about killing all the quote leaders in Iran while he's driving our gas up, while this whole war is just spreading. The new reports that MBS told him to not settle the war and not to prolong it. Come on, there's a lot. This is ugly, folks. You don't understand. If you haven't been to the Middle East, you don't understand what all this really means. It's dangerous.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Iran in a few moments, but I I just want to button up our conversation related to the Save America Act because, our ancestors paid a heavy price. This democracy wouldn't be what it is today had they not paid that price.
Amen.
And there is a concerted effort to undo that work. And there's a generational impact if they are successful in doing that. It's also worth noting that The Guardian is reporting that Donald Trump, who's been urging senators to limit mail-in voting by pushing through his Save America Act that we've been talking about, where the votes aren't there, he's cast his own ballot by mail in a special election in Palm Beach County. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries reacted on X, saying, quotes, "This guy is a complete fraud. Don't ever believe a word he has to say about election integrity." Records from the county election office show that Trump registered at his Mar-a-Lago residence, voted by mail in a race between Democrat Emily Gregory and Republican John Maples for a state legislative seat, even though, as a number of folks have noted, he's recently been in Palm Beach, where early in-person voting was available until Sunday evening. And so this is just another case of do as I say, not as I do, right? And that's where our work comes in, because our job is to make it plain. Our job is to make it clear to the people. Every platform we have available to us on social media, on air and off air, our job is to make it clear to the people that this is not a government for the people, by the people. This is a government consisting of folks at the highest level that are operating in their narrow self-interest. He says this is about election integrity. So let me get this straight. This president won the election in 2024. Apparently, he won every swing state. And you're telling me he had so much confidence in the 2024 election that the Republicans in the House and the Senate had so much confidence in that election. And then all of a sudden, 2 years later, wait a minute, we need to overhaul our election system. That is what former President Joe Biden would call a bunch of malarkey.
Right.
And I think the youth here that are streaming us, that are listening to us, are wise enough to see right through it. But the question is, will we channel that displeasure, that disappointment? Will we channel that into something constructive on election day? At every election near us, will we?
No. That's too late. That's
will
too
we channel
late.
that into action this
That's too late.
Saturday
We
at
gotta
the
start
Kings
now.
rally? We're going to figure out where else we need to channel it with Barbara Armwine when we come forward. You're listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. ICE agents are now deployed at several major airports, including LaGuardia, JFK, and Newark, to help TSA manage long lines during the shutdown.
ICE agents who have no training or specified skills to do the jobs of the TSA.
Democrats, including Black Senator Cory Booker, argue ICE agents are not trained for TSA duties. Maryland's Black Attorney General Anthony Brown has joined a coalition of 21 attorneys general suing the Trump administration over new conditions tied to USDA funding. The lawsuit argues the requirements linked to immigration and DEI policies are unrelated to the funding and could impact programs like SNAP, WIC, and school lunches. And a Jacksonville, Florida community is remembering civil rights victim Johnny Mae Chappell 62 years after her death. The Black mother of 10 was shot and killed by a white man in 1964 while walking home. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For nearly 50 years, OPL law has changed lives, restored futures, and delivered justice. When your world turns upside down after an accident, reputation and success matter. We're real people who fight for real people. OPLlaw.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
LeBron going scoreless in the first half of an NBA game does not happen too often. LeBron did not score in the first half, and the Lakers lost at Detroit Monday night. He missed all 5 of his shots and had no free throw attempts. It was only the third time in LeBron's 23-year career that he failed to score at least 1 point in the first half. The last time was in 2010. LeBron finished Monday's game with 12 points and 10 assists. Even though the season is over for the USC women's basketball team, the future of the program looks strong. USC has the #1 rated recruiting class in the nation coming to campus in the fall. The class includes 3 5-star players, guard Sania Hall of Ohio and forward Satia Fagan of Australia and Sarah Okeke from Spain. Also, All-American Juju Watkins will be back after recovering from a knee injury. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. Let's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Old-fashioned soul. Where you eating that? Hi, I'm Greg Doolin, inviting you to a special celebration of Women's History Month. Join KBLA Talk 1580 for its annual symposium, The State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live from Doolin's Soul Food on Crenshaw, Friday, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., moderated by Dominique DePrimo. And yes, breakfast is just $15.80. Come get fed twice. Your stomach and your mind will thank you. We'll see you Friday morning, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. at Doolin's Soul Food on Crenshaw for the State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live only on KBLA Talk 1580.
It all comes down to this, folks. Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain. Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast. Speaking of fast, did you just see that play? Yeah, he vaporized that ball. That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return, but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do? My refund, though. I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. So who's really paying the price? Scores of people dead and counting. Over 9,000 homes burned to the ground. Entire neighborhoods in Altadena gone. The Altadena Eaton Canyon fire is one of the deadliest fires in California history. And Edison's own CEO told investors the company has not identified any other possible source of ignition. In other words, they started it. So what does the man at the top walk away with? Pedro Pizarro took home $16.6 million in cash, stock, and other compensation last year, a 20% raise from the year before. Let that sink in for a moment. A 20% raise, while families in Altadena are still sifting through the ash. Now, Edison will tell you they cut executive bonuses by 40%. Sounds like accountability, right? Wrong. 6 senior executives lost an estimated $2 million in bonuses. On the very same day, the company reported $4.5 billion in profit for 2025. $2 million out of $4.5 billion. That math ain't mathing. That's not a penalty. That's a rounding error. And here's the part that should really make your blood boil. Over $1.6 billion in damages from a previous fire that SCE Equipment started is now being covered not by the company, but by SCE customers just like you and me Through rate hikes, the victims of utility failures are being asked to pay for the utilities' failures. Sickening, shameful, disgraceful, reprehensible. You choose your own word. The people lost everything. The CEO got a raise. The company posted record profits. And your electricity bill is going up. As you well know, KBLA Talk 1580 has been out front and unapologetic about demanding accountability for SoCal Edison. But this is far from accountability. This is the system working exactly as it was designed, just not for you. With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to
you are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm your guest host, Dr. Cordelai Corte, in for our friend, our brother, Jesse Jackson Jr. I am in the best of company with Barbara Arnwine, Esquire. Barbara Arnwine and I have been talking about the wackiness that is taking place right now on Capitol Hill related to the so-called Save America Act. And before the break, I was reminding folks that, you know, when you hear what's behind these trending headlines, my hope is that it doesn't just make your blood boil, but it makes you want to take action, and action in a variety of different ways. Obviously, we want folks to vote, to exercise your right to vote in every election. We want you to translate and register that disappointment, that displeasure with your government peacefully at organized actions like the No Kings rally taking place this Saturday across the country. But there's so many other ways. Barbara, you were about to share some.
Yes, you know, people, the time is now. If we need cadres, groups of people walking every single street in the United States, knocking on doors of voters, canvassing as it's called, and saying to people, are you registered? If they say they're registered, saying, hey, let's check your voter registration status, because these states have been out here purging voters like crazy. And people think I'm good because I'm registered and I just voted. And the last thing in their mind is that they've been purged. Please, please, please check your voter registration. You can go to vote.org, vote.org. It takes less than 3 minutes. I'm telling you, people, you just put in your name, your information. It's going to tell you if you're registered or not. Some of you are going to be shocked because you're going to find out that somehow your voter registration has disappeared. It's important to do that now. Don't wait until October, because you know what's wrong with registering to vote in October? A whole lot of states don't process those registrations. They will say, oh, it's too late. Even though they got them in on technically on time, we just don't have enough staff to process them. Hundreds of thousands of votes get lost every year because people don't register until the last minute. Don't do that. Register now if you never registered before. Check your voter registration if you believe that you are registered. And we need you in the streets. I want you doing this message that I just said. I need you carrying that to every doorstep you can. The other problem, we saw that vicious problem in Dallas just a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. When our mighty sister Jasmine Crockett was running for Senate against a very, very talented young man. And the problem was that in Dallas County, they told people you had to go to your specific precinct-based polling place, and people had no clue where that was. Know where your polling place is. Know the difference between polling places on early voting and the possibility of that being more precinct-based on actual general election day. Know those things. And then we need to have that kind of voter education. And listen, folks, don't just assume people are, quote, lazy or they don't care. A lot of people have no clue that this is what they need to do. You need to help them. So I'm saying, canvass your neighborhoods, not once, but twice. You'll be out there making sure that people are engaged. Are you in your church? Have you ever had your pastor in your church say to all the congregants, pull out your phones right now. We're going to take 5 minutes and we're going to do a voter registration health check. And everybody's going to go to vote.org, or we're going to go to 411.org, and we're going to check our voter registration status. If you're not registered, you can either do it online or you can go out, as my church used to do when I was at FBCG, First Baptist Church in Glen Arden. You could actually walk out of the sanctuary and go to a table in the hallway and do your voter registration. This is why the SAVE Act is so dangerous, because it would try to stop all of that, right? Mm-hmm. They would try to stop the online voter registration. It would try to stop, this third party ability to register people to vote. So it's so important for us to understand it's about now. It's about now. And you got to talk to those rocks, ROCKS, that Jesse Jackson used to talk about, right? Jesse Jackson Sr. used to talk about the rocks. The rocks are the Black folks and folks everywhere in the United States of all races who are eligible to vote, but don't register to vote. Think about it, folks. There's over 50 to 60 million of those people, right, as we talk. And the folks who are registered to vote, eligible to vote, but don't vote. Mm-hmm. The 19 million people who voted in 2020 did not vote in 2024 again. Those are the rocks. And we got to teach the rocks how to throw themselves, right? How to throw themselves and shatter some windows, right?
That's right. That's exactly what we need to do. And it's also a reminder that do what you can from where you are with what you have. That means start with your family. Start with your household. Start with your church family. Start with your circle of friends. Like, we all hold our corner and make sure that the folks that we interact with on a regular basis, that we make sure they're covered. If we make sure that those rocks among us are throwing themselves, right, then collectively, we can move this country in a different direction. We can move this country towards becoming a more perfect union. When we come forward, Barbara, I want to get your reaction to this latest headline coming from the LA Times. The headline reads, Californians may need to mail ballots early as Supreme Court signals support for new election day deadline. For folks who are less familiar, you should know that the Supreme Court conservatives have signaled that they may require mail ballots to arrive by election day, not postmarked by election day, arrive by election day, forcing California voters to mail ballots much earlier than usual. By law, it's worth noting that California counts ballots that are postmarked by election day and arrive within 7 days. And in 2024, California counted over 406,000 late arriving ballots, 2.5% of votes cast in the state. We're talking about a margin that can decide elections. They say as goes California, as goes the nation. We're going to ask Barbara what this pending Supreme Court decision might mean for the nation when we come forward. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Heading out of town this spring? Metro makes getting to LAX easier than ever. Just take the C or K train lines to the new LAX Metro Transit Center. Then catch a free shuttle straight to your terminal. Easy, affordable, stress-free. Travel smart. Go Metro.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Created with a share of the 1984 Olympic Games surplus, LA 84 began operations in 1985 as a grant-making and educational foundation. Today, the LA 84 Foundation supports hundreds of nonprofit youth sports organizations throughout Southern California annually, trains coaches, commissions research, convenes conferences, and maintains the world's premier Olympic and sports library collection. They are transforming lives and communities through the power of youth sports. To find out about youth sports programs for yourself or your child, and to get information about the grants and support they offer to schools and nonprofits, or if you want to make a donation, please visit la84.org. That's la84.org. Or you can call them at 323-730-4600. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project.
Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do you do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail, because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Roger and Tracy saved over $18,400. Cynthia was recovering from a family tragedy and saved over $10,300. If you are drowning in debt, then call Debt Blue. Debt Blue is a professional debt negotiation firm with over 20 years of experience helping people pay back a fraction of what they owe. Learn how to cut your debt up to half or maybe more. Be debt-free in 24 to 48 months, even with bad credit. With an A+ rating from the BBB, you can rest easy knowing Debt Blue is going to deliver guaranteed debt reduction. Debt Blue offers a success guarantee. You pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved. That's right. You save money or it's free. Call now for significant debt relief and a free consultation. 800-200-8879. That's 800-200-8879. You don't have to declare bankruptcy. This program works if you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in debt. Call for your free consultation today. 800-200-8879. That's 800-200-8879.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me.
You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte, your guest host, and she is Barbara Arnwine, Esquire. We're having a good time going beyond these headlines here. Right before the break, we were talking about this LA Times article that's calling attention to the Supreme Court that's signaling support for this new election day deadline. It is a deadline that will impact voting right here in California, where I'm at today. But as goes California, as goes the nation. Barbara, talk to us about what this pending Supreme Court decision could mean for elections as soon as the midterms.
This is nothing but his cronies on the court trying to give the president another victory because he hates vote by mail, right? He has said publicly that
he hates vote by mail for us,
for others.
But vote by mail is just fine for him in Mar-a-Lago.
Well, now he's decided that it's like all these other folks that once they get through the door, they close it behind them and they don't want anybody else coming through. Well, that's what he's doing. He's saying that there should be no ability for people to vote by mail. So the Supreme Court has given him two victories. It's given him one big victory already on vote by mail, and they're about to give him another one. Most people missed it, but on February 24th of this year, the Supreme Court decided the case of USPS versus Conan. Conan's a Black woman who brought this case because the postal office was refusing to deliver mail to her campgrounds. In essence, she had this really wonderful compound of homes where she was renting them out, and they just didn't want a Black woman making some money. So they wouldn't deliver the mail, knowing that her tenants wouldn't want to reside there if they couldn't get mail. And so she wasn't getting commercial notices, so she wasn't getting anything, and her tenants weren't going to get anything. So she sued them after fussing and trying to reconcile it, and they would not agree with her. They wouldn't work with her. So she sued them. And the Supreme Court held in February that the USPS has no liability whatsoever.
No liability?
None. None. Not any. Zero liability for failing to deliver mail on time, even if they do it purposefully. Even here, as they
even if they do it purposely,
no liability. None.
See. So Barbara, I mean, and you would know better than most, given your years of practicing law, your years of particularly practicing civil rights law. Is there any other part of our economy? Is there any other industry where this standard would be welcomed?
Not at all. This is all they're laying the ground to try to kill vote by mail. Now, yesterday was horrible. I had to listen to that argument. Woo, it was excruciating. It was a long argument of the Supreme Court. And basically, the Republican National Committee has sued the state of Mississippi, big old liberal Mississippi, for allowing people's ballots to be counted as late as 5 days after the election because of what? The USPS being late in delivering mail. And so they literally, in the case of Watson versus RNC, folks, that's the name of the case. They had the argument yesterday. And Clement, who was arguing for the RNC, was basically saying that, based on the Civil War statute, that when the Civil War was trying to decide, what to do about Election Day, because you had all these people out fighting, and so who could vote for president? during the election day. So they were saying, oh, well, based on that statute, they said, well, you really need to get it to an election official, on election day, blah, 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 blah. And folks were saying, Kagan and Ketanji Brown Jackson and Sotomayor was saying, but wait a minute. You have early voting now. You have all these new rules, all these new laws. People, what about the states that allow early voting? That's not, quote, on election day, on the general election day. And he was like, well, I don't have to answer that because that's not part of this case. This case is only about this Civil War, statute. And then they said, but wait a minute. There's something called UCOVA. UCOVA is the Overseas, Voting Act that basically helps military personnel to be able to submit their ballots. And because of the USPS and all the other problems with getting mail on time, it allows for states to set rules on receiving those ballots. Some states have rules that go over 7 days for receiving those late ballots and making sure that they're counted. So these, but again, the court was told that that's irrelevant. That's just UCOVA. That's very special. That has nothing to do with everything else. Now, normally, when you bring a case before the Supreme Court, here's the rule. That under the 10th Amendment, that people under Article 1, it's usually, said that all rights, the states control elections, and that you cannot supersede that state right. So that's why when you have all these mean states like Virginia and others that have had these vicious felony disenfranchisement rules, that's why the Supreme Court has said for many years, well, it doesn't matter, if you bring a 14th or a 15th Amendment claim, because the states have the right to set any rules that they want to for voting.
And that is in the crosshairs. That is in the crosshairs right now. I want to thank.
And they're saying you can't. That when it comes to these mail-in ballots, they don't have that right.
Well, look, this showdown impacts every ballot near you. Our thanks to Barbara Arnwine for making it plain. And for helping us to go beyond the headlines. That's our show today. I want to thank the entire village that helps us produce the Jesse Jackson Jr. show. I want to thank our executive producer, Gina, who keeps the trains running here, to our sound engineer, Brother Miles and Brother Taz, our technical director, and to each and every one of our guests, Liz King, Barbara Arnwine, thank you for being so generous with your expertise. I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte, host of A More Perfect Union. You can listen to me in afternoon drive time here in LA from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific time. We will continue to go beyond the headlines with some of the most brilliant minds among us and leaders on the front lines. It's my great pleasure to guest host the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We'll see you right here, same time, same place tomorrow. You've been listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with